Hey, this is Jeff from Knock. We provide infrastructure to send product and customer messaging. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how you can use Knock to add cross-channel notifications to your product. So let's say we're on the engineering team at a company called Collab.io. Today, our customers use Collab.io to collaborate on assets like this one. But when they leave a comment for a teammate, we don't send them any messages, so it's hard to stay in the loop. We'll use Knock to change that. In this demo, we'll add in-app email and Slack messages to our application. I've already pre-configured my Slack app, an email provider, and an in-app feed channel in the Knock dashboard, so let's head over to the front end of our app to configure in-app and Slack. You can use Knock to power feed-based experiences like notification centers, inboxes, and toasts, as well as one-off in-app messages, which we call guides. But for this demo, I'm going to just add a notification inbox to the top bar of Collab.io. I already have a user profile component that renders in the header of my app, so this is a great place to include that notification feed. Inside of that component, we'll go ahead and add a few imports from the Knock React library. Then I'll add those components to our user profile component, and finally we'll tie the popover variant of this feed to the bell icon button. Now, if we jump back to Collab.io and look at our header, we've got a feed component rendering and are ready to send in-app notifications. But Knock also provides other helpful components and APIs for implementing chat messages. For Slack, if we look at the account settings component, you can see where I've already implemented our Slack kit components for auth. This component facilitates the OAuth process with Slack and stores a token for that organization back in Knock. So now that our configuration is done, we can jump back into Knock and start sending notifications through both of these channels. First, let's create a workflow, and we can call this test comment. Our workflow is triggered via an API call when a user leaves a comment in Collab.io. But we can also configure this to use event triggers from CDPs like segment or audience-based triggers like when a user enters an audience. We'll add an in-app feed step, and we'll update this template to alert the user that there's a new comment. Next, we can also add an email step, and we'll use the same language from our in-app message, but we'll also add a button that links back to view that comment on the asset. Knock's template editor is very customizable, and you can access all of the data available to you as a part of the workflow run scope as you create your templates. To test this template, we can run it in the test runner. And if we jump back into the Collab.io dashboard, we can see it there in our notification feed. We can mark it as read or archive it, and all of that state is handled automatically by Knock. Like every good demo, I have a workflow I baked ahead of time. And here you'll see that I've added a function to batch my notifications. We have a lot of functions you can use to branch, delay, and throttle workflows. Then you can see later, I'm also using a delay step and some conditional state to only send this email to users if they haven't already interacted with my in-app or Slack notifications. So I've already wired this up to the Collab.io backend, where we're using Knock's Node SDK to trigger a workflow using the API. So let's jump back in there and leave a few comments. If we hop back into Knock and filter the logs for my email, we can see each individual event coming through and then see those workflow runs processing and batching. Knock isn't a black box, and everything in Knock is observable, from your initial API calls to the logs that are returned from downstream message providers. And so if we jump into another window where we're logged in as a different user following that same asset, we should be able to see our in-app notification and Slack notifications come in real time. There's a lot more you can do with Knock, like powering in-app announcements like this security training announcement, using Knock's guide feature and your own components. Guides allow you to map customer messaging authored by your product team directly into your application's components, all powered by our stateful real-time infrastructure. Similarly, our broadcast feature expands the type of messaging you can send with Knock by allowing you to create and trigger one-time workflows for segments of your users directly from the dashboard. If you're interested in seeing more of what we built, sign up to get started sending messages in your products. Thanks, and Knock on.